I would bring back waterboarding, and I'd bring back a hell of a lot worse than waterboarding.
Don't tell me it doesn't work. Torture works.
I like it a lot, and I don't think it's tough enough.
General Mattis is a strong, highly dignified man. I said, what do you think of waterboarding? He said, I've never found it to be useful. He said, I've always found, give me a pack of cigarettes and a couple of beers, and I do better with that than I do with torture.
If you were ordered by the president to restart the CIA's use of enhanced interrogation techniques that fall outside of the Army Field Manual, would you comply?
Absolutely not.
I will rely on Pompeo and Mattis and my group. And if they don't want to do, that's fine. If they do want to do, then I will work toward that end. Do I think it works? Absolutely.
There you saw how President Trump has evolved on the subject of the harsh interrogation techniques, which critics call torture, over the last 12 months, with input from the new Secretary of Defense and CIA Director. Back to our panel now. A.B. Stoddard, it seems to me that the President has more or less abandoned this idea for now, but he still gets credit with certain segments of his base and the electorate for talking tough on the issue, while he defers to the seasoned counsel of the Defense Secretary and the CIA Director. Is that your read?
Well, actually, they've created a dust storm with a document that Sean Spicer's trying to sort of wiggle around about black sites and the use of these enhanced interrogation techniques. So he didn't just go to an interview, talk tough on torture, and then say, but of course it's illegal and we won't be using it. In the end, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. He told David Weir that he is going to let Pompeo and Mattis set policy and do what is legal. That's a bottom line. But at the same time, when you have a document circulating about opening up black sites and actually using these kinds of things, and then you have a dodgy answer from the press secretary. Sean was very careful to repeat several times it was not a White House document. I can't say it more clearly. This is not a White House document, which means it's could be an agency document within the executive branch. So it creates confusion. What I don't like about it is it was a dust up that didn't need to happen when this Secretary of Defense is starting his job and the head of the CIA. Mattis and Pompeo don't need this. Don't do it to them. They were blindsided by the document, blindsided by this announcement and this talk about torture, and it took them by surprise. This is just bad management. It shouldn't happen to them in their first days in the office.
Katie.
Well, I think it's, Donald Trump gets some credit when he talks about these things working, right? He's going a little further than saying it's just enhanced interrogation. He is using the term torture, which I don't think the CIA would prefer that he uses. But there was a Wall Street Journal op-ed in 2014 that was penned by a number of former CIA directors and deputy directors talking about the results that they got of the enhanced interrogation program at the CIA, talking about al-Qaeda operatives who were taken out, KSM, who was in the middle of plotting a number of mass casualty attacks that were interrupted as a result of their findings. And so it's understandable that he wants to get results that he thinks that he's seen through the words of our former CIA directors. That being said, it is now illegal. It was passed through Congress that we cannot do this. It is considered torture. John McCain said today, no matter what the president does in terms of signing an executive order, things are not going to change. And quite frankly, this is a program that has been under scrutiny since 2006 when the Supreme Court ruled that the Geneva Convention also applies to not just prisoners of war, but anybody who the U.S. detains. And therefore, this program has been under scrutiny. And quite frankly, the CIA has probably moved on in trying to change their techniques for a decade to make sure they can prevent future attacks without the enhanced interrogation program.
And here I thought it would be the judge who'd be most likely to invoke court precedent on the panel tonight.
I wanted to impress him. So.
That's a tough business. We do have the point that Katie made that a number of former directors of CIA have endorsed these techniques, whatever label one places on them. In fact, President Trump over the past few days has been very critical of the outgoing CIA director, John Brennan, accusing him of leaking, likening those tactics to those employed by the Nazi leadership in World War II. But here would appear to be one area on which Donald Trump and John Brennan find common ground. Here is John Brennan.
It is our considered view that the detainees who were subjected to enhanced interrogation techniques provided information that was useful and was used in the ultimate operation to go against bin Laden.
So not only is he saying that these techniques work, they helped lead us to one of the great triumphs in the war on terror, the killing of Osama bin Laden. Judge, your verdict.
I recognize the greatness of that triumph, but it certainly can't outweigh the treaties that we have signed. Why do we sign treaties? There are 4 of them that we've signed that prohibit torture. Why do we enact statutes that prohibit torture? Why do we expose the people who order it and the people who perpetrate it to becoming war criminals and prosecuted in other countries where the president's commutation and pardon power is useless? Why do we undermine the very values of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution? Why did we demean our moral superiority, which upholds the inalienable rights of persons?
Because war is hell?
War is hell, but war must be fought by rules. Why do we have these rules if we're not going to abide by them?
So there are rules in hell.
Well, you have to ask Dante. But George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Theodore Roosevelt, FDR, LBJ, all prohibited the types of techniques that Donald Trump is now talking about, or this mysterious memo is alluding to, that he might be considering reinstating. Whether they work or not, they violate the most basic aspects of Americanism.
On that memo, Mr. Spicer said from the podium yesterday that it was not a White House document. The New York Times says 3 administration officials told them that was false. Perhaps we'll see that hashed out further. We have 20 seconds, AB. The politics of this going forward, will this continue to be an issue?
I think they need to try to put it to bed. If Donald Trump keeps giving interviews, which he's doing a lot this week, and talking about torture and making members of Congress talk about it, it's just going to be another political fight that makes them look divided.
Thank you all so much. That's it for the panel. But stay tuned to learn what was really said at last week's inauguration.